Hello, hello. Hi guys. Hi Brian. Hi Dave. Hi everyone else who's on. It's really lovely to see you. Put the glasses off. Right, music down. Okay. I hope it's not going to be glitchy today. I know, thank you so much everyone who stayed. You were really patient yesterday, last week, so I've cut out one camera in the hope that that will reduce my bandwidth. I've no idea, it could have just been some random Wi-Fi gremlin. So, how are you doing? It's really nice to see you. Thanks for coming back. If there's anyone who's joined who isn't on here more regularly, if you want to request a shout out, I do random shout outs. So Brian knows what they are. Brian, you can also request one if you want. I don't mind if you ask twice. And I think I can see you. I can see people joining on Instagram, and all your comments will hopefully come up here. So don't hesitate to put something in and then it'll be visible. So let me show you where we got to. Right, so again I've got a slightly different camera set up, so I'd be interested to know how that works for you. So this is the picture, and I think Bo's mum might be watching as well, so hi Fritha if you're watching. Thank you, it's really nice to have you, but you don't need to stay for the whole thing because obviously you can watch it back on YouTube. So I can zoom in, so that's one of the advantages of this camera setup, is I can show you a lot of closer stuff. So I'll give you a quick look at where we got to. It's all completely bone dry now. It's 8 by 10 inch canvas on board, so sorry, canvas wrapped around a box frame. So that's it's a really nice linen canvas. I really like that. Okay, and it will take me a little while before I actually put paintbrush on here, but while we say our hellos, what I was going to do was just start by kind of wetting the canvas, the oil equivalent of wetting the canvas. And I might just talk to you a little bit about what I'm using. So you may have heard of the fat over lean principle. I tend to use this, it's very popular, Winsor & Newton, it's called Liquin, and you get it in different kind of levels of thinness, but I just use the general one. It speeds up drying, so that's really good, and it helps the paint go on, and it also reduces the need for you to worry about fat over lean. However, what I have done today is, now I've got loads of liquids. So if you see me heading towards my teacup with a brush, please put something in the chat saying no, today I'm going to add a tiny bit of cold pressed linseed oil into my mix to make it slightly oilier. Right, vital. This is what happens if you send your child round to play with me and they leave their clothes. So Dave, this is Logan's vest. Logan, if you're watching, I think you're too big for it now. I found it after you'd gone. Right, so I'm going to start by literally putting on a bit of liquid like this. And because I'm going to be working on the whole picture, I'm going to spread it over the whole picture. And I'm also going to put some in I've got a little reservoir there. So in my reservoir for painting, I'm going to mix some liquid, being a bit more organised today in this regard. Oh, brilliant! No glitches, thanks so much, Paul. I'm really happy to hear that. That's excellent news. Do you like the piano music? Right, what was I doing? Yes, so first of all, I'm just going to wipe this liquid over here, because what you tend to do is you need to re-wet your oil paint, because as it dries it goes lighter. So what this is doing is it's just re-wetting the oil paint, not soaking wet, but it just gives it a little bit of a sheen. I think you can just about see that. And that, particularly the dark colours, tend to go a little bit chalky, and then it's really difficult to judge what they're going to look like when they're dry and varnished. So when you've finished your painting, you varnish it, and that will bring it back to its freshly painted, juicy look. Right, never leave your clothes on the floor. Oh yes. Yeah, are you a fan of Jackson Pollock? I don't think I could say my thoughts of Jackson Pollock really on live broadcast. I'm not really a big fan. But yeah, that would be about it. Yeah. So I think I prefer this. Please don't quote me. Right. So you put your liquid on, or you can just do it with oil, and then I'm going to leave it just for a minute or two. So while I leave that, I'm going to make. You're not a fan either. Okay. I wonder what about you, Dave? Are you still watching? So I'm going to put on my colours on the palette. So I will turn my camera down. So this is hopefully a better option than dotting around with having another camera, and it obviously reduces my bandwidth. Now, top tip. So I suspect that my oil painting is going to smell slightly of pesto. So Bo's mum, I apologise in advance. I'm sure it'll be all nicely sealed in with the varnish. But basically, I can't. I find these containers like this awful for the lids jam up. So I don't know if you've got any top tips for these safety lids. So what I've done is I've decanted my linseed oil into here, and I'm just going to put a little bit in. Who knows what with, really just to make it slightly more glossy and to slow down the drying a little bit, because I'm working on the next layer on this painting, so I think it would be better. I'm going to do it with a brush because that will, so not loads, but yeah, it just makes it more smooth and oily, and because it's an upper layer, it's that principle of fat over lean, so it makes the paint what you would call fatter, so more oily. Right, so and you can put a bit of Zest It or some paint thinner in there if you want as well, but I'm not going to do that. So I think probably today I'm going to kind of go over the whole thing. Let me show you the reference photos. So we've got a bit more. So what I've done is I've got this reference. Right, I remember watching a session about their thoughts, and they said, so it's just a picture of a rag. Yes. Well, there you go. It's the Emperor's New Clothes, isn't it? Some modern art, and I'm not one of those people who go around an art gallery and talk in a very loud voice, but I will tell you a story in a little while about a concert I went to, which was very amusing. So I'm going to zoom in this time because I want to be able to show you some close-up, because I'm going to be working in more detail. Here we go. So this is Bo's head, you can see, and you can see, although there isn't a lot really obvious in the picture, that is quite, there's quite a lot of information there, but it's a very, very narrow tonal value range. So what I'm going to do is I will actually start on the head, I think. So I'm going to zoom in on the head so that we can have a much better view. There, right. So now you can see what we're dealing with. There. Okay, and let's go onto the drawing board as well, and I'll do the same on that picture on the drawing board. Oh, I haven't got that there. Okay. Right. So I'm going to get my paints on here first. Right, we have I mentioned before burnt umber, this one here, Mars Orange, which is a brilliant colour. So I've got quite a bit of that, so I'm going to use that. I will probably use that in the sand as well, so for a little bit of you know, connecting it together. I don't tend to have too many colours. Right, burnt umber is like my security blanket. What's your favourite colour, guys? Because mine, I think burnt umber is my go-to colour. And for blues, I can't exist without this bad boy, French ultramarine. Nearly gone. Anyone want to come on and defend Jackson Pollock on the chat? Or yours is raw umber. Oh, okay. That's a bit more yellowy, isn't it, I think? I'm going to put some yellow ochre light on. I'm not a big fan really, but I'm sure it'll come in handy with that sand. And I've got, where's my white? Here we go, fake white. So I will probably use a tiny bit of titanium white right at the end, but not now. Okay, and I confess I don't have a plan. I wonder do you start with a plan for your paintings? I don't really have a system or a plan. It usually involves several layers. I had someone come and model a couple of weeks ago, which was really lovely, so I had to get it done in a day, and that was fun. Neutral. Ah, okay. What, you like using the raw umber, do you? I'm going to move I can't see your chat on that screen, it's really hard. Let me just move that up. There. Now we can see what you're saying. Okay. And I'm just going to go and get that image. So we have, where are we? Okay, I'm going to take that reference photo and copy it. I think I can put it on here. Yes, there we go. Right, that's better. So now you can see. Hi Paul, can't say you know anything about Pollock. Still learning, must take a look. Well, don't waste too much of your life. You might love him. I know you're such a positive person, Paul. I suspect you'll probably shame us all by finding something to like about Jackson Pollock. He's very popular. Right, so we've got, I'm going to need more white than that, looking at the reference photo. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to go for slightly smaller brushes this time. Here's my courtesy of Dave. Thank you, Dave. I love this. It's pony hair and really, really nice. Right, let's give that a little bit of a stir. Still not too glitchy? Weesh and whoosh the brush. Okay, that's a technical term, is it? I'm just stirring. I can tell this is definitely more oily, so it'll take longer to dry, but that's okay because it's really sunny in England at the moment, so I can just stick it out in the sun. You wouldn't do that with watercolours, obviously. Should I put some raw umber on just for you, Brian? I'm going to do that and see if I get a chance to use it. When would you use raw umber then? What would you typically use it in? Got to kind of, you can hardly see the difference. In case you're interested, Paul, see if I can go down. Let's see, right there. So that's burnt umber and that's raw umber. So the raw umber's got a slightly more greeny colour. Yeah, should I add a bit of white? Thanks, Brian. Oh, you're so sensible. What I should do really, Paul, is just hand this stream over to Brian, because Brian knows much more than I do. Right, I'm just an imposter. So I don't want too much white in there, but there's a, yeah. So there's the white. So it's really grey, just as you said, Brian. And then this one is warmer, reddy brown. There. Okay, so that's burnt umber and that's raw umber. Thanks, Brian. Okay. Oh yes, can I just tell you that story about the I'll tell you about. So I went to this concert in how's that going to get on? I need to be able to see that. There we are. So I went to a concert of it was Elgar, and it was very nice. It was out in Wisley Gardens in Surrey, in the south of England, so near London, and it was quite a famous cellist. He's a brother of a very famous composer, and he got to the end of a very famous cello concerto, and I'd been sitting, it was an outdoor concert, and I'd been sitting there thinking, so I'd played quite a lot of music in my life, and you're way out of your depth. Oh, Paul, I'm glad you're happy. That's the main thing, that you're happy. This is just learning as you go along. This is how you learn. Good for modelling white stuff. Okay, step down a value without losing the colour in the shadows. Oh, right. Okay, with yellow ochre. Right. Well, I'll line that up with the yellow ochre then. Maybe I can use it on the sand. So I was sitting there thinking, I'm not sure his timing's great with the orchestra. I'm not sure that his pitch is always great. I just thought it was all a bit clunky. But it was one of those ones where you were all out we had picnic blankets and people had hampers and champagne, and it was all very lovely, set in these gardens. And so we got to the end, and there's like this kind of silence before everyone claps. And one man who clearly knew his stuff, but was also much bolder than me, just got up and shouted in that silence before the crowd clapped, "Rubbish!" And that was very inspiring to me. So I'd like to be more him. Anyway, right. But please don't you do that with this. You can if you want. Okay, so back to bow. Now I'm going to go in and close on this face and work out a plan. There we go. Get even closer. Can you see that? I've got my... There we are. I need to be able to show you with the camera, but also reach it with my brush. Right, and we've got, I'm going to have to put my glasses on. Right, so squinting, I can see, I think this colour is a little bit cool here. And there's some texture in here, and the hair as well, the hair is too warm and this is too cool. So there's just the variety, I've got too much variety in it. So I will start with the hair. In fact, I'll start with the face, because there is oh, Brian, that would be brilliant if you start streaming. I'd love to watch. I'd love to watch. So there's a theory that you can use if you're stuck for what order to do things in. And that's what I'm going to do today, she said, winging it, which is that you can start from the back and work forwards, because as you put the layers on in front, then yeah, you do that. So the as you put the layers on, then they sit in front. So yeah, so if there's no other thing to consider, starting at the back and working forward is quite a good approach. So on that token, I should really start with the sky, but I want to get going on the face. I'd like to make a bit of progress, so it probably won't be the last layer on Beau's face, but let's get that reference photo up. There we can see really well. Now I'll go in and go, so like this. So I'm going to mix up. I'm going to start with a very desaturated mix, desaturated mix on his hair. So I'm using a little bit of this. You can see that. Let's get it going down there. Okay, so I'm going in with the raw umber. So this raw umber has got a little bit of white in. Probably it's pretty much there. Brian, I think you saved my life. I think you should be streaming. I should be watching. Okay, let's see. Okay, see how that colour looks. So you can just put a dab on there. You can see I've just sorry, camera. Right. And I think there's a lost edge here between the edge of the hat and the hair. So this is really the colour of the hair, I think. And there's a bit of hair there. And a little bit coming out here. So it's a warm grey. And it's almost exactly what's going on down here as well. So it's fairly transparent, so you can still see the definition underneath. So I'm going to go in and lose that edge completely between hair and neck. Okay, and then there's a really lovely cheek shape here. It's amazing what a silhouette tells in terms of the layers. So I'm going to be, as I mentioned before, going slightly over the edges, and then when I do the sky, I'll cut in. Right, and then there is a bit of warm here. So now I'm going to go and get a bit darker for the rest of the hat. So let's go down and mix. Still use a little bit of that, and I'm going to add in a bit of ultramarine and burnt umber. It's such a difference having just a tiny bit of see the colour. Probably not very dark. I think I might have too much white in that. But I am going to use this. This is really good for greying it a bit. Right, let's go for. Oh, hello! 3 viewers on Twitch. Wonderful. Thanks. Woohoo! That's my record. Hello, Twitch viewers. Thanks so much, and thank you, Brian, if you brought these people in. It's lovely to meet you. If you're hanging around, I do shout outs. They're completely different, and if you just ask for a shout out on the chat and I spot it, you will be surprised. They're very silly and got nothing to do with oil painting. Brian will tell you. Yeah, thanks Brian for telling me that. I hope that soon it will be the other way around and I'll be on your stream, Brian, learning. And right, that's a little bit too warm. I'm going to cool it down a tiny bit more with a bit more and darken it. And I'm not going to do the bright white highlights on the hat until the end. And there is a bit of a line there. I'm just kind of I know I'm using one brush. And I think that's fine. I think that's, there we go. Right. Okay. So if anyone's watching and wants to ask questions, you're really welcome. I do not just oils, I do liner cuts and things like that, and a lot of pencil work. So yeah, also I like turning grey and raw umber. Oh right, yes. I think for me it depends on what I'm painting. I'm going to have to try that. Raw umber, I had that right down there as one of my least favourite colours, so you've elevated it very much. Now, looking at this shirt, I think I need to put a bit of decisions into that, and that is very similar in hue to the band around here. So I'm going to need to go for something a little bit grayer. Well, I don't know, it was just a bit yellow, a bit mustardy. I shouldn't have been so prejudiced against it. You've shown me the error of my ways. Right, and also because that is it's a print on the hat. I don't know if you can see. I'll move it onto the centre. There, you can see it. There's a print, and it's quite a sort of sky blue. The local colour on the hat, it will be sky blue by the looks of it. So I'm going to add in a slightly cobalt to get a slightly more artificial hint on that band. Okay, let's go back to the mixing board. Is this making you feel seasick? Hi David, thanks for joining. You can ask questions if you want on Instagram. I can see you. Right, so I've got a bit of cobalt blue, some of this mush from the last, just a sort of general desaturating mush, and I'm just going to suck it and see, as we say. So let's see how that looks on here. I'm just going to put a little dab on as an experiment. There. Right, that is very grey. I tried to paint a grey with only raw umber and burnt umber. Oh, okay, yes, so the raw umber is cool, is that right? And the burnt umber is warm. Okay. Do you do this with your students, Brian? Right, now I'm going to darken that a tiny bit, and then I think it's going to go in here. Right, there we go. Looks a bit dark, but I think that's going to be okay. And we've got some of it here. Like that. And we're just on the back of this t-shirt. Reducing the saturation on there quite a lot from that purple. I think that purple was a bit optimistic. Right. I'm trying to average out the colour of the pattern on here now. So see if I can get a band in here. Go in a bit closer. Right. I think that's probably pretty close. I'm just going around with the closest, looking around the picture for things that are close. Okay. Right, here we go. And that band is going to have a lot more detail in it, but that's fine. Okay, and I think some of these hairs at the back here are very light. They're really dear. They're those like ones that just kick up under the rim, but they actually, you can see the rim of the hat there. And up here as well, where the light catches those hairs. I think I could go even lighter up there. There we go. Right, and there are also some painting grades with different shades of neutrals. Yeah, it is. Should try some tutoring. Yes, Paul. Well, I think workshops are really good, and they cut through a lot of tutoring. Yeah, they cut through a lot of time, if you're feeling like you want to progress quickly. So as opposed to the trial and error thing. But there are probably lots of books and YouTube channel things that you could try. And it's one of those things, like if you were to talk to me about printing, I'm sure you would, you know, or trains, it would be completely, like I think you get it, don't you? You get it. It's just what you're familiar with. Right, I'll stop patronising. Okay, so I've got a sunbeam coming down here that I want to kind of mark out, and I think it's quite light and quite blue. So I'm going to again just try. Yeah, that comes through the stripe as well. It'll be a different colour on that stripe. There we go. And it's almost violet. I'm going to use a bit of alizarin crimson later for that. Stephen Bauman, now that rings a bell. Remind me. I definitely recognise the name. Brian, have you got any recommendations for Paul on basic colour? You're fairly good with the error. Oh, is he? Ah, okay. No. Do I need to look at Stephen Bauman then? Thank you. Right. Yeah, well, Paul, say what it is. What do you think would be the thing to help? Because I bet Brian teaches, so Brian might well be able to recommend something. Right, I'm feeling the need for a tiny bit of alizarin crimson because I want to get some sense of a pinkness in that hat, in the top of the hat. Although it's grey, I can see a pinky thing going on. So let's see. Go back to that. Now, alizarin crimson is really dominating. Now that looks very purple. Shall I grey it down with a bit of your favourite colour? It's really great. Works a treat, Brian. I think this should be Gail and Brian's Twitch channel where Brian teaches Gail to paint. How about that? It could be like a double act. Oh, that's too dark. I will off camera make it a little bit lighter. Let's go a tiny bit lighter still. Okay. This is going to really start to sing when it gets that. It's got a little ridge. It's got a little ridge of white on the front, which I'm not putting on yet. Okay, anyone want to jump on, and any of these people who've joined, anyone want to defend Jackson Pollock? We're having a bit of a conversation. We've been doing a bit of Jackson Pollock bashing, which isn't very charitable because Jackson Pollock isn't here to defend himself. But maybe somebody watching wants to tell us what it is about Jackson Pollock that we're missing. Until Paul watches him, and then Paul will be able to enlighten me because Paul appreciates so much. I'm going to go a tone lighter on that. Mount Fuji was a good learning curve. and then found them difficult to kill off when I realised I didn't want them. Was Mount Fuji, was that a watercolour? Paul, was that a watercolour? So it does, the colours behave very differently. Yeah, I'm with you. Because neutralising watercolours is probably quite different to neutralising oils, I would say. I think watercolours are harder in that you can't. Right. Let's see. I've got this Eliz. Now I'm going down the scarlet path. I'm going to try a little bit more of the. Because they're close, I can mix. They're cool. I can mix the scarlet with the blue and make a nice purpley colour. So I'm going to look on that shirt to see. It's quite a. I don't want to over egg it, but I might just very slightly egg the colour variation in the shirt. So these will be, so probably the, where I've got sort of pinks or blues in the shadows of the shirt, they are going to be where the light is bouncing off things in the environment, which could just be the sky or the sand. So what tends to happen is planes that are, as in surfaces that are facing the same direction, tend to have, and that's a very useful thing to remember when you're doing flesh. You know, if you've got an edge like this edge here on there, and then this bit here, which are probably at the same angle, they'll pick up, if their local colour is the same, they'll pick up the same amount of light, unless, you know, they're extenuating circumstances like shadow. You know, like there's a cast shadow from something else. Okay. Now I think as well, this is too warm up here. I'm going to cool that down, possibly with the same mix. Let's see. Yeah. And it's definitely cooler in the front here. Let's get on there with a bit more thicker. My painter's very got very transparent with this medium that I'm using. We've got a light, that's a muscle there, isn't it, that connects up the base of the skull down to the from the base of the skull down to the clavicle. Now I've just got this colour on my brush and I'm looking for it on the picture. Let's go in. Right. I'm going to do the back of the hat. I'm going to go in with these darks here. I'm kind of losing my way a little bit with those, so I'm going to take a step back and do some easy bits. Yes, Brian. So if you get what you thank you for bringing viewers to me. Yeah, it would be lovely. I'd love to be interviewed by you. That would be great. Is that what you would do? Interview people? Yeah. Thank you. Right. So this is going to have flashes of white on it, but for now I'm just putting the darks in because they are the colours that are hard to get down. And then this is almost undiluted burnt umber and French ultramarine going in the rim of the hat under the band. Okay. so this, I'm just looking at the plumb line here. I think I've got his eye, obviously it's come forward a little bit. Oh, you can only see that, sorry. Here we go. Right, I'm getting that face sorted. Yeah, okay. So I am trying to keep a sense of the overall shape, and imagine that in here we've got that bulge here. It's not quite right there, I don't think. We've got the bulge, you can just see the bulge of his head in the photo, and I haven't got that quite on the painting, and also I can now see that it's not saturated enough, that hat. So I'm going to go in with a bit more blue. I've got some cobalt blue. Need a little bit of white. One thing that is really great for judging colour is if you, there are lots of tricks, and I watch a really great YouTube channel, Draw Mix Paint. It's a guy called I think Mark Calder, and he has some really good old videos on judging colour, and he's actually got a gadget, but there are lots of gadgets that people use to oil painters and painters to judge colour. And one of them is you can get a piece of paper with a hole in it, and there's a trick where you can put your paint on the edge, and then you can hold it up against your picture with the hole, I can't remember, like this, and then you can compare your colour with the colour of the picture with nothing else around it. And Mark Calder's got a gadget which you can hold up, so you put a little bit of paint on there, and then you kind of hold it up and you look at the thing in front of you, and it means that you can see your colour next to the colour of the thing in front. Right, let me see. Can I say I wouldn't buy a Pollock and I see the messy rag? Oh, you had a look? Okay, I can't help liking one or two, very much like my mind when a drawing isn't working. So yeah, did you see that, Brian? Have you seen Paul's comment? So yeah, that's a very good suggestion, that a Pollock looks like your mind when a drawing isn't working. Yeah, that's very good. Okay, let's get on with this. So that lovely, quite saturated blue is at both ends there as well. Right, and I'm going to go in with it here, although I think it's more violet. Yeah, right, get a little violet on that shoulder. There we go, that's right. Okay. Okay. How's the music? What do you think of this piano, guys? Is it nice? This is one I did a few weeks ago for when I was doing hands. I thought it would be amusing to have a piano music to go with the hands. Right, I'm going to come down a little bit on this picture. There we go. Maybe not that much. What I might do actually is lose the head so that I can see that colour more objectively. Okay, so I'm going to go in, I've got some dark folds at the bottom. What does actually someone... Should be better at having been alive. Yes, you should. No, you can't blame your age or your eyesight, Paul. Just needs to do more work. I know you work very hard. I think sometimes it's a question of getting it on its own. So doing like Brian was saying, if you do black and white or monochrome paintings, and then maybe try and add in one warm and one cool, or if you look up the Zorn palette, there is not anyone playing the piano. Brian, you're getting quite silly. Is it the weekend? Is it because it's nearly half term? Have you done? Where are you at, Brian, with half term and everything? We've got, my kids go back to school tomorrow, and yeah, there you go. You got it from the one who talks sense, Paul, as well as me. Limit your. Right, now there's a lovely bit of bounce light here, which I'm looking forward to putting in, but I'm going to try and restrain myself and do the flat. There's a flat panel here, flat area there. Okay. Yeah, it's just isolating the, you need to isolate it so that you can understand the basic bits, Paul, and then it's just, you're probably just expecting too much of yourself too soon. And I think some people take a sort of academic approach, and some people take a trial and error approach, and that partly is a personality thing. But also, the way you see colour is part of your unique painting style. So in a way, if you get it completely right, you could argue that there isn't then, you know, that what's the point of that then? You know, that it's part of the way you analyse and lay down colour is integral to your what makes your paintings look like yours and not mine or Brian's. So but it's probably best to break it down into simple right, let's try this here. Break it down into simple components and understand first, and then play. But right, I'm going to go for that. I've got a lovely, it's almost turquoise, a really nice violety, whitey blue on the t-shirt, just where it kicks up over his glutes, shall we say, here. It's a really nice little shelf and it's caught the light quite nicely. And talking about planes, there's the same, that's the same direction. It's up, facing up, and so it's picking up a lot of the light from the sky, I think. There. And there's another bit here. There's a fold here, but that's lighter. I think that's got more. Still quite purpley. It's probably quite a complicated scene in terms of if you analyse. So if you were to paint this from imagination, both feet in then. You are a glutton for punishment, Paul, but that's the way to learn, isn't it? I was looking at someone on Instagram today who was, it looked like she was ironing her painting, and it turned out it was an oil painting and she'd got the sander to it. she was sanding it down because she was really cross about how it was going, and had decided, I'm sure we've all been there, she could take it no longer. Right, so the creases in the front here, those lighter bits, I see as a very blue, and then the creases here I see as a little bit more violety. They're still light, but I'm just going to add a tiny bit more purple in. Show you my mixing. Okay, right. So it's still in shadow. So these lightest darks are darker than the darkest lights, but there are virtually no lights on this picture, so I'm not having to worry too much about the darkest lights, but I'm going to see how that looks when it's down. So this is not, I don't think, Beau's shoulder blade, but it does slightly suggest the shoulder blade there, that crease. And then there's another one down here, like that. And then it goes in here, it goes a bit more purpley. There, and here. Okay. And we've got the seam here over his shoulder. And as the brush, I'm sort of, it's kind of picking stuff up. Yeah. Right. Anyone want to shout out? You're on vacation. Well done. Well done, Brian. Are you going to go down the beach then? Go on, make me jealous. Tell me. I bet have you got a beach by you? I think you posted some beach stuff. Right. Okay. So let's go back a little bit and let's try that hat again. We go back up there. And in case you're watching on Instagram, hello Georgina, thanks so much for joining. There is my reference photo, just so you can see. Hey Jay, lovely to see you. Lovely to see you guys, thanks so much for joining. Right, I'll just show you. This is what I'm drawing. Oh right, okay, you live on a mountain. Okay, yeah, I stream on Saturdays, guys. Thank you, Brian. I'll do that. Yeah, I stream every Saturday. Thank you. Top tip. So I'm drawing this picture, and it's the second sitting. So I'm in the third hour, really, of this painting. You're in the pub. Okay, Jack, you're not drinking. That's a likely story. Right, so I will show you. Right, so I'm going to move that out of the way now so you can see the painting so far. This is beautiful Beau, and I've been doing a bit on the t-shirt, and I'm just using, well, I've got that colour on my brush. It's really subtle, but I'm just picking out on those planes on the hat where they're facing the same way, and actually that sunbeam going down there, I'm making it a little bit more violet. Right, let's see what's going to happen with, so we've got, this hat is set up to take some white on it, this rim. This edge here there's going to be a white edge there, which will track better the shape of Beau's head coming down. I haven't got his lovely cheek and chin in here, so I'm going to cool this down a little bit, but not a lot. And I need to go quite dark, I think. Right, this is, I'll just show you my paint washing thing. So this is how I wash my paints. I've got this, it's got a nice handle, so it's pretty good for plein air as well if you go out painting. Shelley Beans, is that you? That would be amazing if it was. If it is, I hope you're very well. Right. Okay, so this is Zest It, which is like a paint thinner kind of thing, and it's got inside that, it's got, I don't know if you can see, it's got a little grill, and all the sludge sits underneath, but it's great for right, so it's good for cleaning. A pub. Yes, yeah, Paul, you were at the opening, you and Jay were there in this, under the same roof. Jay, Paul was sitting at the front. I've drawn you both. Yeah, someone said to Paul, I didn't recognise you with your clothes on. You're such a hero, Paul. You're a legend in your own lifetime. Right, that's okay. I'm going to move. I feel like I need a little break from this to be a little bit more objective. Do you like cleaning your brushes? No, I absolutely hate cleaning my brushes, to the extent that sometimes I even just get new brushes. It's really bad. I'm really bad. I'm the last person to ask about brush cleaning. It's shameful. Okay, let's get some of these shorts in now. There we go. Right, so I'll do the shorts, and then I'm going to do more. Oh, I might do just some more of this flesh on here, because it needs to kind of match while I've got that mixed in on my board. Okay, let's see. We've got, yeah, because I had that a little bit too warm. There we go, arm. So there is a glow, but there's no way that much of a glow. Over-egged the glow. Right, folks, if you're watching for the first time and you're having a nice time, welcome and thank you. Thank you for watching. I save my old videos on YouTube if you want to watch on my YouTube channel. I stream every Saturday, and I love to hear from you, and I love comments and jokes and questions. They are all very, very welcome. Or you're also, of course, welcome to lurk. That's fine too. But if you're feeling bold and you want to request a shout out, please don't hesitate, because I'd love to do one. I haven't done one for a few weeks, and they're very silly. Thank you, Jay. That's very kind of you. Okay, yeah, that's more, it definitely catches the light a bit more lower down. It's dark up here, and then it catches the light, and it's very, very cool there on the back of Bo's hand. There. And I'm just trying still to see, you know, with those drawing principles in mind, trying to see the hand as a flat shape, forgetting the fingers. Okay, that lovely round hand. And I'm going slightly over the edge because I will then go chip into it later. Time to look at the photo. Right. And we've got a wonderful elbow dimple, which I might just mark so I don't forget it. So looking, here's the shadow of the, I'm moving a bit closer even than you can really see. See if I can get that there and focus it. Can you see that? Yeah. There we are. So let's find that dimple. A little down, it's there I think. Slightly lower. Okay, lovely, beautiful bow. Right, and I think there's a little bit of shadow under here, so I'm just going to take that up like that. Right, okay, so now I'm going to mix some darker colour for the shorts. Take a little bit of oil. I have got a little bit of white on my brush, just enough, just to not make it totally saturated. I'm going to use Brian's raw umber. Brian, you know what? I reckon I will always think of you when I use raw umber, forever. Right. You leave them hanging. Oh, do you know? Yeah. I wonder. And I've never tried this. Don't do this at home, children. But I used to have a decorator who used oil for woodwork. He was very traditional, and I know this looks super bright. It's not actually that bright on the painting. It looks really scary, doesn't it? But I will lighten that. That is a bit dark. And it is a little bit, they are a bit greeny, so I'm going in with the, going in with the raw umber. So he used oil on his brushes, and he used to leave his brushes hanging in water, and he would just put them in a jam jar, end down in water, and come back the next day, and he said basically the water just stopped the air getting to the brush, and you just took it out, shook off the water, and dried it on a kitchen roll, and then carried on with his oil painting. And I keep meaning to try that because I thought that was a really clever idea, but I've no idea whether that would work for oil paints. But for those of us who like to not clean our brushes, okay, so I'm slightly modelling these trousers with a little bit of, there we go, a little bit more light. There's a plain here, and there's a definite edge there, the back. Okay, and I'm just going to make some, there's a bit of pocket, and there's an edge here. Sorry, the front edge here is also catching the light. Oh, okay, right. Weber. I bet my friend in Bristol Fine Art can tell me about that. I'll ask him. What was that painter? Why were you asking me about Richard? That Richard guy. Sorry, I can't remember his name. Why were you asking about him, Brian? Stephen Bauman. Yeah. Yeah, that one. Why did he come to mind? I'm putting a bit of blue in here, just like this has got, catching the light. Ah, okay. Right. Oh, Discord, that all sounds very advanced. I'm not on Discord. Do I need to get on there? You put 3 stars in. I don't know what that means. In the roller. Ah, okay. Yeah, cleaning the roller after a lino cut is awful. Oh, is it? Oh. Yeah, sorry, I think I've got links turned off. I will have a look afterwards. Thank you. Right, I'll go. I have logged. I've got an account on Discord. Yeah, so cleaning lino. Paul, have you got water or oil-based lino ink? Because that makes a big difference. If you've got oil-based lino ink, I think they maybe give you a better print, but you pay for it in terms of clean-up. There is a pattern on this, but it is almost indistinguishable. Okay, we've got dark under there. Oh, okay, thank you. Thanks, Brian. I'll go on there. Will that be, are they all right with new people? I don't have to do some sort of horrible initiation ceremony then. Come on, someone, get a shout out. Someone say you want a shout out. I'm desperate to do one. Right. I'm going to get... So these shorts, they're just getting a little bit more modelling here. Obviously, I think it's obvious, I won't be putting the pattern on till the very end. Okay. So, if anyone's just joined, just to say hello, welcome. I do a lot of drawing and other things, but this is an oil painting of Beautiful Bow, and so this is the second session on this oil painting. I'm not sure I'm going to do the whole oil painting live, but this is the third hour of this painting. Called Cranfield Relief Inks Warm Water and Fairy Liquid. Oh, right. That's where you need a lab technician. That's the thing with being in art college, is you get lovely people whose job it is to clear up after you, and it gives you this illusion that art is something that's really creative, until you then later discover that actually art is 90% messy, clearing up and resenting your own paintings and trying to decide when to give up on them, and 10% jubilation, quickly replaced by the other bit. Why do we do it? Right, now that edge, I'm being a bit silly here because that doesn't go there. This is his, so if I look at his back, he comes down his back, and then his spine would be here. So I need to correct that quite quickly because it looks really silly. I've been thinking in terms of lines, not planes. There we go. So I can basically just suggest the shape that's underneath. And I will cut into it a little bit with that and put the pattern on. I'm quite tempted to have a go at that pattern actually, because it's really subtle. Let's just do a little bit and see. I'm not sure what these are, Paul. I think they might be dragons, but I know you've recently discovered that dragons aren't necessarily everything they appear. You don't need a shout out, I get my name. I know, well you've had a shout out anyway, and Paul you have, we'll just have to wait for somebody else. I might do one for Bo, in case Bo's ever watching. Maybe when Bo grows up, he will watch this. I'm not trying not to go overboard, it's really tempting to go light with that, but I'm not going to. See if I can get a tiny bit more warmth on there. I can do that arm as well on that edge here. There's a bit of light catching there. Too light. But kind of runs down, so I might be able to blend that there. Yeah, there's a little lovely little bulge there and another one here. Okay. Weber Terpenoid Natural. Oh right, okay. Oh wow. Gosh, I need that. So it'll help me with my brushes, which are deeply solid. Okay, let me just show, for people who are on Instagram, I'm just going to show you this reference photo there. So when people are watching on Instagram can't see the full width of the screen. Yes, it does sound British. It does sound like a British product. Right, so there we go. There is Bo in all his loveliness. That's my reference photo. Okay, so I'm going to go in and look at the, it's quite good actually to step back like this, but the camera's a bit diagonal, so it's, there we go. It's quite good to sometimes compare at a distance and you can see mistakes. You've only got 3 dragons and 1 wyvern. Yeah, I wonder what a wyvern is even. Paul, what is a wyvern? Right, let's go back to the drawing board and look at these legs. Right, so they are pretty much the same. So if I squint, in terms of value, they are not as far off the shorts as I've got them. So I think I need to maybe go a bit darker with those legs and a bit greyer. Let's try that. It's going in with a daub of some random colour. That's really quite cool. Maybe a tiny bit warmer. Pick up a tiny bit of Mars orange in. Okay, tiny bit more. Right, there we go. Let's put that leg down. Yeah. And that's really very flat, that leg, in terms of the cut. I mean, the colour is not totally flat, but really pretty flat. So I'm going to start by making that base colour like that. Okay, and the other one to match. And I've already demarked a little bit more warmth at the front of that other one. And let's not forget the drawing. So the knee is here, and then that's got a curve that way. Look, over the calf, that's a muscle there, isn't it? Cut in there. Okay, and now I can add a little bit more warmth without lightening it too much. There, a little bit more. There. There we go. Oh, it looks like he's wearing tights. But I think I'm going to have to trust that. And it is, as I observed last time, it's very similar to this bit of sand here. So that's quite a good, sorry, not hue, tone and hue. I think I need to be a little bit warmer in that leg though. I'm actually going to try, I know you're not supposed to mix on the paint. That's too much. Just that little bit of bounce light there. Okay, and I think if I use it on the hand as well, that might be a bit more. Okay, let's have a look at the top of his arm again. Right, so the top of his arm is pretty much the same as the bottom of his leg. Leaving that dimple. Right, I might end up lightening those. They just look so dead, but it is a very cool colour. A tiny bit of white. Okay, right. Although they look slightly wrong, I think that might just be the what's around them. So let's have a look. What next? What should I do next then, guys? I can do. So I could do a bit of the background, or I could do the shoes. I think I'll go in on his trainers now. Get some of that. Okay. So I'll give my brush a bit of a clean, and let's have a look at his trainers. Come on, Bo, show us your feet. Thank you. Now I'm having to actually guess some of that because I can't see the whole thing. I might just get that greeny yellow stripe in for reference. So it's greeny yellow locally, but yet again, might just go in. I've got a little bit, I've got too much there. Burnt umber, but that burnt umber, what was it you were saying about the shadows? Look at that. I think that's maybe a tiny bit of blue. So even though I know that the colour is probably that yellow on the trainers, because they're in the shadows, they're more like this stripe. And if I get that in, that will help with, let's put it in, I'll show you, sorry, drawing board, oh yeah, camera, there, ta-da. Yeah. So then I can judge the other stuff around it. So Paul, that whole thing about judging colours, it's massively around what's next to stuff. When you're judging colours, it's 50% of the battle is what's sitting next to it. There we go, and I can carve into that later. I think it's even slightly too, I've gone and made it too saturated going in. More burnt umber, more raw umber. Actually, because I've not done anything else around it, I can just rub that out. Let's do that. And this just rubs off. Better. It's a really dull colour, which when I've got the trainers dark will read as bright, I hope. Yeah. They don't. Right. Paul, have you been out in the sun today? Have you been looking at trains? Sounded like you've been in a bit of a flunk. I hope you're feeling better. Hi Kev. I'm going to come on Instagram and say hello. Hello, all right. Welcome. I'm 3/4 of the way through this portrait, and I'm just working on, I'll zoom out a little bit. So this is the second session on it, and I've just been kind of refining the colours on here. So I'm right down on the trainers now, and I'll show you the reference photo. There, that's the photo. So welcome. And if you would like a shout out, just say. You just need to ask for a shout out. I'm desperate to do somebody a shout out. So just say, and you'll be surprised. You just need to give your name, and I'm not saying any more than that. But Brian will tell you. Brian's on, and Brian will tell you that it's not at all anything you would regret. Right. So I'm going to cut in. So I'm trying to see the big shape of this trainer, and looking at this angle here, the sock here, the trainer should actually come up quite a bit higher like that. There. And down. Right, and there's the back under the Nike tick. There's a bit of red in here, which will read as just a dark reddy blacky brown. I'm using burnt umber and ultramarine, French ultramarine for this. Okay, and he looks to me like he's going to be quite tall. I don't know why, but these feet look as though they've got some growing in them. I think they're quite big for the height of him. They're like puppies, aren't they, when they're this age? Oh, Brian, you're so lovely. I'm lucky that I stream on your rest day. You and Paul are my trusty steeds. Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's funny, isn't it? I don't take so long getting ready now. The streaming, and it helps with the concentration as well, I think. Okay. Now just looking at those shadow shapes, that comes in there. There's a really cool shape of that trainer. I'm just trying to see this as an abstract shape, this bit here. And it comes, that's the back of this ankle, and there's quite a lot of shoe there catching the light, and a lovely turquoise element to those trainers too. Right, and this toe comes out further. Right, let's get that out there. Quite pointy. Right, and while I've got this really dark, I'm just looking to see if anywhere else needs the really dark. I think we're all right. Okay. Right. Now, that is far too white. I'd love it if my trainers were that white, but they clearly never are. So although it's white, the local colour is white. The actual colour in the picture is going to be, let's try that. That looks all right. So this will, so now I'm killing off this white. I think that makes the yellow sing a lot more, because it's not competing with that white now. And here as well. Where's the angle of that shoe coming up? Oh, I've gone on where the blue, there's going to be a bit of blue up there. But there'll be a flash of white here again, which will up here, right. I think that might need to come down a little bit. Maybe not. I'm going to bring that down a little bit there. Okay. And let's go for that. There's a lovely turquoisey colour. So So I'm going to just take a minute, look at this mess. Right, so I'm going to use my brush cleaner. So the brush has got quite a lot of warm colours on it, and I'm going to do the turquoise on Bo's trainers there. So I'm going to mix up a little bit of cerulean blue. I think, I don't think these are particularly high grade, these ones. These were my granny's. Is that Winton? I think that might be the student grade. So I wouldn't use them for a large part of the painting, but for a little flash like this, I think they're fine. So let's go in. There's the mixing. We'll put a little bit of medium here, which has got, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's got a little bit of cold pressed linseed oil in it. So I'm going, this is the sort of, this is probably, I would guess, that's like the local colour of those trainers. And now I need to start again and make it much, much darker. So I'm almost, what I think I might do is start with just about black and work up. So this is a warm chromatic black mixed with French ultramarine and burnt umber, and then I'm just going to lift in a tiny bit of this. It's very easy to lighten mixes and almost impossible to darken them. So Paul, when you're thinking about your learning about colour, yeah, I think I can go quite a bit lighter here. Right, I'm going to try that. Really, you can never really know until you go for it on the picture. So let's go with that. There. I think this is working all right, isn't it? Have you ever accidentally dipped your brush in the tea? I certainly have. I really have. Yeah. I have never drunk the turps though. Have you ever done that? I think that would be pretty dangerous. Right, there we go. Lovely bit of, so that tracks his heel, the shape of his heel there, and here. And there's a tiny flash of it here, but then there's white there. I think that's all I can use that for. And then I've got a much more royal blue for the socks. So I'm going to use the same, a little bit of leftover bit of the same mix, and just add in some French ultramarine, and then that gives us more the sock here, which I'm wondering, actually I think that sock is there. Yeah. Okay, that's far too saturated. There we go, and there's one here as well. Okay, so that's the top of Bo's socks. Lovely. Debbie, what did you say? Where were you, Deb? Is that you, Debbie? Oh, picked up a soldering iron. Oh, ow. Oh. Oh, Paul, thank you. This is really nice. So are we sharing awful painting injuries? I don't know if I've got any inspiring painting injuries. It's hardly the most high risk. Got any painting injuries? Let's get some of these highlights on. I'll have to think about my painting mishaps, Brian. You've got me on the spot there. Now this is slightly It's slightly got a tiny bit of light on the back of there, bounced, a tiny bit under here. Right, let's come back a little bit. Okay, that's where we've got to. Says it's a snake dragon cross, so only, oh sorry Paul, I've just seen on YouTube, so a wyvern is a cross between a snake and a dragon. Ah, okay. 2 legs. What, 2 legs and 2 wings? I thought dragons had, I know they've got front paws, haven't they, and wings. They've got 4. I don't think there's any, are there any real creatures that have got 4 legs and wings? You poke in the eye when concentrating with the end of a brush. And what, oh, so I'm a bit delayed on this. Let's see, what did you say? Oh, Debs! Yeah, it's dangerous. It's really dangerous. And also I find exercise is extremely dangerous. It fell flat on your dusty floor. What's that? Sorry, I'm going to go up and see that comment. You had a piece, I just... Oh no, I hate that, Brian. I hate that when that happens. When you pick up your painting falls over. My best mishap was a knitting injury. Well, it wasn't an injury, it was an injury to my pride. Oh, so I'll put my paintbrush away. So I was in Bristol and I was working as an IT consultant in abroad. I worked in India for a bit and I worked in Sweden, and I had to be picked up at 5 in the morning by a taxi to get on the plane to go to Sweden every week or every couple of weeks. And this lazy taxi driver at 5 in the morning in a built-up area couldn't beat to get out of his taxi and beat the horn. No, I don't think there are any animals which have got 4 legs and wings. Oh, Brian, I'm really sorry. So yeah, so this taxi driver, he just beeped his horn, and I came out of the house and I was feeling a bit sniffy, and it was 5 in the morning, so I wasn't in my best cheerful mode. I had a suitcase and my travel bag, and I went in to get into the taxi and I got stuck. Having said to him, would you mind not doing that, because you've woken up, you know, all my neighbours, they've all got children and you're beeping the horn, it's really not okay, you can't do that. So I gave him a real mouthful about beeping his horn. And so I used to have really long hair, and I used to have a bun in my hair, and I used to put it up with biros. Debbie, you might remember this because I know we've known each other such a long time. So I always used to have my hair wrapped in a bun with a biro or a pencil stuck through it. And sometimes I used a paintbrush, and this day I couldn't find a paintbrush, so I used a knitting needle. So I had a really long knitting needle that I'd completely forgotten about. So I was busy like this to this poor taxi driver who probably just wanted to get on with his job. I gave him a load of grief about beeping his horn, and then went to get in the taxi and I got my head stuck because of the knitting needle. So this and he was far too polite to say anything, so I just whipped out my knitting needle and shook my hair and got in. But yeah, it's the paintbrushes get in the way, don't they? You can use them. They're really good because they're smooth. Yeah. Top tip for varnishing, by the way, before I go back to this painting, if you're varnishing a painting or you put something called exhibition varnish on, when you've done it, to keep the dust off, talking about dust and dropping stuff, if you lean it against the wall, yeah, you do, you do, and you had beautiful brown hair, the same. So you put your painting the other way. So I'll show you on here. So if I was to varnish this, so I would varnish it with a what's it called? Exhibition varnish first. You would, when it's touch dry, you varnish it, and then when you're leaving the varnish to dry, lean it this way against the wall, so that it's only touching at the very top and the bottom, and that stops any dust falling on the varnish, because that can be a thing as well. So you can have done a reasonable job of keeping your painting free of dust, but if you varnish it, you can then collect a load of dust. Brian, do you ever get hair in your paint? I quite often end up with quite a lot of hair in my paint and have to sort that out. It's not very professional. This one doesn't have any hair in it. I've just finished. I can't wait to show you this horse oil painting that I've just done. Right, I'm just going to do a tiny bit of that sand there, because I'd like to get those. I'm thinking I might have got the proportions of the feet. Texture, yeah. It is texture, yes. Yes. Exactly, Debs. Right. So I'm looking for a plumb line from this to here. So I think that toe is all right now. And there's some dark here. And even darker there. There's a bit of an almost lost edge there between the trainer and the sand. A bit more there. I'm going to have to make up this under bit here because I can't see it, but there is a little bit of sunlight coming through underneath here. I think you can see. Just in here. That's a bit lighter, so I'm going to go in with the what's it called? Yellow ochre. Yellow ochre light and a little bit of white just for that. Yeah, so I've got a tiny bit of a glow under there, which will help with that shadow, and then it gets warmer. There. And actually that's pretty similar to this here. There we go, that gives us the edge of the trainer. Right, so I should talk a little bit, as we are coming fairly near to the end. I will just mention next week's stream, which is going to be cats. So I've got a commission of a couple of cats, and the person I'm doing it for is going to hopefully be watching, and it's a present. So her, I think maybe her cousin, who's a friend of mine, has bought her a commission that she can watch. So that was very much part of the gift, was the experience of watching, and it is a little bit different. It's a colour photo, and as with customer reference photos, it's not really it's a photo she really loves, so I'm going to have to, it's going to be an interesting challenge making the best of that photo. Because it's not, you know, it's not one I would pick out if I was scrolling through the internet looking for reference photos. I definitely wouldn't choose this one, but the customer's always right. So, and it's a very colourful photo that's being reduced to black and white because it's a graphite portrait. So we'll see what happens with that. I like this colour here. I'm going to go in. I'm going to try and make that leg come alive a little bit. Oh dear. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've ever done this, Brian, but you know, Turner and Friends, they used to actually pretty much finished their painting, didn't they, in their exhibition. They didn't, you know, put the final touches on until it was up on the wall in the varnishing day. Right. Now, still looking at that shape. Still not quite convinced. I'm going to bring the sand in here, and then I'm going to go back with the dark of the trainer. I think that is the laces there. Okay. Oh, do you? It's you, a cat lady. Debs, I missed that. It's just vanished. I'm struggling to catch these comments, and I can't. Oh, here we are. I can see it. Right. Away next weekend with a cat lady friend. Oh, okay. Oh, lovely. Still wet when you hang them. I don't think you're the only one, Brian. I think lots of people do that. Oh, thank you very much, Deb. So now I can see your other comment 100% better. The Munit's not so glitchy. Yes, Paul, there are different types of varnish. You could get similar issues with painting. I think you can. I think you have to be very careful. Read what it says on the can for your painting. Right, let's get some. Now, I think I've got too much light going on between these legs. That there is sand, isn't it? There. It's too noisy between, yeah. And up here we've got lovely light on the sand, just there. And there's some really nice texture. I'm going to do another pass over the sand. Right, and I've got a little bit of green to go in that. And put the other green, I think it's Beau's sock. I'll just get that in that edge there. It's almost grey. If you were in here with me, you would see that that is green. And there's a tiny bit of a Nike stripe there, which I need to have a bit of a dark base to show it on. So let's get a bit more of that dark. My daughter has just done the most amazing final piece for her GCSE, and it's acrylic. She wanted to do oil, but I think she also was mindful of the pressure of doing that last, that last piece in exam conditions with a medium that she wasn't quite familiar with. So she used acrylics. There we go, that's better. And I can put that yellow flash in now. So, but if there's anything you particularly would like to see on the stream, like a shout out, then do say, because I can do other things. I'm trying, at the moment I've got such a backlog of commissions, I'm trying to focus on doing commissions. But now I'm posting, I can't wait to share this. Izzy, no, she's not posting on Instagram at the moment. I can't persuade her to. I don't know why. She has, I shared one on my story, just one of her pages from her sketchbook, but she's just decided not to do art A-level, which is a real, I think it was a real wrench, because she's a very good artist, and I think it is her sanity. It's her. She's doing otherwise very academic subjects, but I get it. I get. And if I'm modelling the fact that you don't need art A-level to be an artist, so I think she's getting that message loud and clear from me, which probably doesn't add weight to the argument pro. Right. Hi Callum, I don't know if you're on, if you just dipped in and out. I know you popped on a while ago. It's really nice to see you if you're on. I'm just finishing this portrait. Well, I'm finishing this session on this portrait, and this is the reference photo here. He's called Beau. Yeah, I have an idea for flowing or falling water. Oh right, yeah, that would be cool. In oil. So this is the reference photo, and this is the picture. So we've just been doing. So actually, this is a very muted colour, but because it's against a very dark background, it doesn't look so muted. There we go. That's the. This is some accidental yellow on here. Okay, now I think I might just do a tiny bit on the, I'm going to put that little white edge, and I'm going to do a bit, I think I might do another layer on the sky, and maybe do some of these bits. Or, let me just put some white, I'm going to put the white flashes on that catch, particularly here. There's a lovely white flash, which I need to not forget. The natural dirt on my paintbrush is ensuring that that is not totally pure white. Let's get that in. There, where the light catches the top of his trousers. And there's another bit there, which does need to be a bit lighter. His laces. And then on this side, it's got a bit of that turquoise in it, so I'm going to go for, I'm going to mix the white with the cerulean blue. So it's really, really faintly blue, but once it's on the picture, there you can see those trainers. It's here. All that mixing for one flash of blue. I'm just looking to see if I can use it anywhere else, but I don't think I can unless I can use it in that sky. Have a look. No, don't think so. Okay, so what's the last thing to do then? What do we think is the most pressing? I've got a landmass here, which is slightly missing from my painting. That's rather disastrous, isn't it? I might do that. Get that bit on. You can see. Reference photo. Here we go. Let's do that. I'm just going to put that back on. Sorry, I don't know what I did there. Oh, here it is. Right, if I shrink that down. Sorry, people on Instagram, I know you can't see this, but I'm just getting my reference photo sorted. Put it on here so you can see. So what I've been doing is, now I'm doing a bit more detail. I've been zooming in on the reference photo a lot more. So I need to just zoom out again to do that bit of landmass there. Okay, so let's pop that over there. Get the camera a bit straighter. Here we are. It might be, let's have a look. Looks like it might be, you're right, there's a wave. Yeah, yeah, I think that, you're right, Debs, I think that's a wave. But it's very, yeah, so that's a bit of, there's a bit of seaweed in front of him there. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Debs, that's a wave. Thank you. Okay, what I can do then is go in on that. What would I do without you guys? Got me all sorted, thank you. You'll have to come every time I paint. You'll have to come round. Right, what I'll do is do that then, because then you can watch at the same time and we can see them both next to each other. There. Okay? Right. So it is, look at that, it's almost the same colour as his shirt. So it's a dark browny purpley colour, the likes of which I've got plenty down here. It's just a mush of browny purpley. I'll take a bit of that alizarin crimson. There we go. And now, so I've got gadget wise marl stick, which I would use for details. So sorry Brian, I know you know this, but just for the benefit of people who aren't, so a marl stick you can hold like that and use for details so that you don't, it just keeps your hand off the painting. And then this interesting gadget that I introduced last week, which I got from an artist called Tom Hughes who sells them. It's called an Umber ruler. And if I take you back a tad, let's see what you can do. There we go. Sorry, my camera's right. So what you can do is you can kind of lock it onto the side like that, and then you can use it to as a ruler, which is really good for buildings and horizons. So I think I need to put that in here. There we go. And it means that you can make your mark a little bit more boldly. I'm just going to improvise with a bit of texture there, and there's a similar bit back here. Some detail there which I think might be buildings or something going on there. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Right, the camera is putting us slightly, it looks slightly not, but it is horizontal. There, you can see that. Right, it's too dark. Oh Brian, you're too kind. I don't think it does, but hopefully we'll get there. So Brian, I know you, I was going to do this on my own, but I left it to do with you because you asked. But I probably will do the next stage on my own so that I can concentrate. And this is too bright, but I will kill that off another day. Let's just try and get a tiny bit more done on that face, because it's a nice thing to end with, and I'd like to progress it slightly with you. So the thing that's concerning me is that I haven't got the best sense of Beau's shape of his head, and I really want to slightly the angle of the camera there. He has got this wonderful dome, but when you're drawing people with hats you really have to see the head underneath. So I'm going to go in with that light edge with a thinner brush, and I will use the marl stick. So I'm going to mix up a little glowy white with a clean brush, so just some white with a tiny bit of that, which I can never remember the name of, yellow ochre, just to warm up the white. There we go. So it's pretty thick and opaque. I'm using flake white Okay, and then I will turn the camera towards here, right, and use my marl stick. So I'm using this, but I'm not going to take the camera back because either you can see the marl stick or you can see the painting. Oh, bye, Paul. Oh, thanks for another oh, thank you, Paul. It's so kind of you. It's so kind of you to join. I really love it. Honestly, if you're Brian and Debbie, now you're coming regularly, I really look forward to it so much more, knowing that you're going to be here. And that's not intended as any sort of, you know, that I expect you to come. It's your weekend, but it is really lovely and it makes it so nice for me. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Right, so here we go. Here, this edge I think will create a bit more, correct the shape of what's missing here, particularly this bulge here. Get some more white, charge up my brush. There, it's the bulge of the head that comes round like that and on here. And then that edge there, that brim. And then we've got the same thing going on at the back. I'm going to just use the same colour there. So that can cut in. This is just slightly drier now here. Of the rim of the cap. There. Okay, and we have, oh Paul, thank you. Well, I'm very happy that it's probably, we should really all be out in the sun, shouldn't we? You saving the brightest white? Yes, I am, Brian. Yeah, and I haven't even gone, I've got, here's my titanium white just sitting there, totally unused. So I'm not even going to get that out today. Yes, exactly. And it may never go on. So talking of exercises, I think you know, reducing your value range is a great exercise, isn't it? I'm sure you do that sometimes with your students. You know, get them to paint or draw without using the darkest darks and the lightest lights, and work with what you've got is really good practice, isn't it? So just trying to show a little bit the weave on the hat. Okay. See the shape of that bit there. Right, there we go, and we've got some more. I can go in with these lights here as well, I think, on that back, so they are cool whites. So even though they're very close in colour, I'm just going to put a tiny bit. I'm not using the cerulean, I'm just going to use, let's show you the mixing. So I'm doing the cool whites on the back of the t-shirt, and I'm going to mix it using maybe a tiny dash of, so it's going to be a violety white there at the back, and then a tiny bit of medium which will help it spread. Okay. Okay, marl stick, steady the hand, right, and then okay, and it's got actually, so it's really, it's like a pale lilac that I'm using here. And along this edge here. So this shape here is very crude on my painting. And I think I could maybe put that in there. I think there's a little edge on that white there. Right, and I'll just look further down the painting to see if there's any more. I get the feeling there might be some down here. You're the only streamer that I watch. Oh, I don't feel as though I'm that interesting. Oh gosh, it's 5 o'clock. Wow. Right, just one more. I'm just going to get those last little flashes here. Brian, that's such a compliment. What will you do when you stream? Will it be art? Will it be interviewing then? Or actual practice? You'll paint. Great. Fantastic. I think this platform has got so much potential for artists and painters. I really do. You know, I know a lot of people like other things, other platforms, and Twitch has its critics, but okay, special episode. Right. So maybe I should zoom out a tiny bit. There we go. Thank you for your tip about saying about my streaming schedule as well, Brian. That's really handy. Thank you. I'll do that for next time. And yeah, and I don't know if was that okay with the palette down there instead of having a camera on the palette, because that camera was my phone camera. And the other thing I was going to say is, I mentioned it before, Papa Look. I found it really good as a camera. Okay, brilliant. Thanks. All right, mate. It's really nice to see you. Enjoy the rest of your vacation, and maybe see you next Saturday for cat drawing. Oh yes, I will. Raw Umber will be my friend. Oh, Debs, thank you. Yes, that would be really. Debs, I feel quite positive that I think we might be all right for our birthdays. It was looking a bit flaky, but Pie Minister pies will be on the menu, and as soon as it's looking more positive, I'm going to put some. Brian, Debbie and I have the same birthday. There are actually going to be 3 people on the 21st birthday reveal. What do you mean? How old? How old? I'm so old I don't even know how old I am. I'm so old I've actually forgotten. Oh, when? 21st of June, which is the day in the UK that all our restrictions apparently are turned off. So we're supposed to be allowed to party, but I don't know whether we really will be. We'll see. Okay, right. I'm going to. No, I don't feel a lot younger than you, Debbie. Okay, right. Bye, guys. It's so nice to see you. Thanks again. Have a great rest of weekend and week, and I'll see you next week, I hope. Okay, thank you. Thanks so much.